This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Crusoe, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk. This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies.
Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Brother, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander.
Yeah.
Charmander. Are you more of a Charmeleon guy?
Charmeleon.
This is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what it
Schlecht?
means? Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
J-Dub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Wednesdays, it's my good friend Alex Speers. Alex, what's up?
What's up, Andrew? New intro.
New season, new intro. Let us know what you think about the new intro. You can see it on video if you are on YouTube, which we got a pretty good amount of people hopping on here on a random Wednesday. So if you want to see the intro, go to YouTube and search Down to Dunk and make sure that you like and subscribe while you're there. So the NBA started last night. We got to see just the Celtics absolutely manhandle the new look New York Knicks. It was really just kind of sad. And then we got to see the new look Lakers, which is the only really new look is Dalton Connect and a coach. Just make the Timberwolves look like they made a huge mistake making the trade. Just big mistakes made doing that deal. What was like your biggest takeaway from last night, Al?
I think concerns are much lower for the Knicks than the Wolves. One, because of the opponent. We all know Boston's going to be good. Mm-hmm. They have continuity. They came back out. They looked like an even better version of the team we saw last year. And yeah, they're trying to work out how they're going to use Cat. You do have concerns about their offense just because Tom Thibodeau's never been thought of as some offensive maestro,
right?
So yeah, that might take a while, but in general, I would be less worried. Minnesota is a little bit more interesting. One, because I don't know how good the Lakers are.
Yeah.
And I understood that the defense or the offense was going to take a little while,
Yeah.
You're trying to fit in someone like Julius Randle, but I thought more concerning was like in parts of that game, especially like when Gobert was off the floor, their defense was just really bad.
It was gone. They were trying to zone. They were trying to do this zone defense with basically Julius Randle as like the back line of the defense, and they immediately got a wide open dunk in a zone, which should never happen if you're playing zone defense. Like you should be able to cut those things off. But there's a lot to be. It leaves a lot to be desired.
Because my idea with not being too concerned with that trade was just like, okay, well, they're still going to be an elite defensive team. And then even if they're below average offensively, that's what they were last year. Like, is it really going to be that big of a drop off? Mm-hmm. We'll see with the offense. But if they end up being, even if they're like the 6th best offense, I think that represents like a significant drop because they were, if you look at their defensive rating last year compared to like even the number 2 ranked team, they were far and away the best defense last year.
Yeah.
And if that drops off, like that completely changes their calculus. So that was what was a little bit more concerning, even though it's just one game.
I mean, it is just one game.
It's just one game.
It's all we have to go on. But as of today, I'd say they made a big mistake, and they're way worse. And that,
as of today, they ruined their franchise and basically screwed up Ant's future. It's been completely sidetracked now.
It did,
and he'll be demanding a trade very soon.
Yeah, they're today. You talk about their defense, but their offense was just as bad, if not worse, in my opinion.
And
heavy ISO ball. There was no flow to what they were doing. It was brutal. I mean, the Lakers shot 16% from 3 in this game,
Yeah.
but somehow the Wolves shot 41% from the field, 35 of 85. I mean, it was just brutal. And that was part of the problem too, is that the Lakers had 10 more shot attempts because of like turnover issues for the Wolves versus the Lakers, and then just like sloppy play overall from the Timberwolves.
Yeah, they're in the half court last night. Is cleaning the glass. Minnesota was 85.2 points per 100 possessions.
Feels about right.
Pretty low. Now, on the flip side, the Lakers were 96.3, which isn't like some amazing number
Also
either.
bad.
So
Also bad.
So yeah, I mean, you feel like the defense should stabilize sooner than the offense. I do feel like they're going to have to figure out something on offense.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is as of right now.
Yeah, I don't quite know what it is either. Because I mean, I think they probably underestimated a little bit, the Towns, subtraction there with just the spacing in general. Because like that's the biggest issue is their spacing. And DiVincenzo is going to shoot better than 2 of 8 from 3. He'll have some big nights. Conley will be better than 0 of 5 from 3. Jaden McDaniels didn't make a 3 either. So like they just didn't get a whole lot of production out of these guys in general. And then just Anthony Davis just dominated everybody really in this one.
I also think it was notable that Randall played 34 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I know some people were wanting him to come off the bench, and I just never thought that was realistic based on who Julius Randle is.
Right.
But I also don't know if I was expecting him to get like 34, 35 minutes a game, because I thought they would want to lean into Naz Reid a little bit more, and he played, I think, 26 minutes. So, yeah, it'll be interesting going forward.
Yeah.
Certainly as Thunder fans, as of one night, feels like there's one big competitor that we're feeling a little bit better about.
That's right.
One night. Now, when the Thunder lose to the Nuggets tonight, none of this will matter. But
yeah, it also goes to show like how little preseason matters, because some of the storylines coming out of Minnesota were like, can you believe the preseason that Josh Minot has had? Just like he is a rising star, and like he doesn't touch the floor. Rob Dillingham, like how many, previews did you listen to about the Wolves that talked about Rob Dillingham like playing this like big role for them, scoring off the bench? Didn't play 1 minute in this one. Like some of the preseason stuff just doesn't matter all that much. Like Joe Ingles got minutes, and DiVincenzo played 32 minutes off the bench. So like I don't know. We can the regular. Looks like regular season basketball to me, where like all the other stuff, you forget like how much stuff that goes on in the preseason just isn't that real.
Yeah, and looking at the Lakers, like nice win and everything. Their rotation, man, outside of their starting lineup.
Yeah.
The fact that off the bench, it's like Gabe Vincent, rookie Dalton Knecht, Jackson Hayes, and Max Christie.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
That team is not deep at all.
3 minutes of Bronny.
And 3 minutes of Bronny. Oh, he didn't even make cleaning the glass because it was garbage time. Poor guy.
Oh, it was considered garbage time? It was in the second quarter. It was 4 minutes.
I don't know. He's not listed on the game page or something.
That's really funny. He was definitely in a competitive portion of the game. It was kind of funny because it was the portion where Joe Ingles is in the game, and then I think JJ Redick was like, "Okay, go now, hurry, get in there while Joe Ingles is in the game." Yeah, I don't know. It did not look pretty for the Wolves though, who were a very good team last year, and like every concern that you had about Julius Randle like showed up last night.
Yeah.
And if you look at the stat sheet, you would think, oh, Randall might have been one of the only guys that had a good game in the starting lineup. But you watch it like functionally, it was pretty brutal. It was pretty brutal, and it just looked really clunky. And it will get better as time goes on for the Wolves. But I wonder if they kind of gave themselves like a bad haircut, with this trade.
I mean, this was But like the idea of this trade was always longer term, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire idea of it was to get off that long term cap money so that you would open up some flexibility in the future. Although they did just sign Gobert, it was announced at
They
tip
did.
off to an extension.
Yeah.
But that was kind of always the idea with it. And my issue with that is just like, are you sure you have the guys on the roster that you want to build around? Like, do you really believe that much in Naz Reid? Like, do you really want to pay him? I don't know what he might get, but probably 20 a year, probably more than that.
Yeah, definitely more than that.
So that was always the part that I liked. I understood the idea of opening up flexibility and optionality.
Yeah,
But if that just ends up with them just re-signing Naz Reid this summer and just kind of being capped out again, then it will not look as exciting.
Yeah. I also wonder about 37-year-old Mike Conley.
Yep, he's getting up there.
You know, he played 20 minutes. He was not very good for them last night. And if like Mike Conley can't play, like this rotation looks very different. But again,
Yeah, I mean,
just one night.
yeah, he is really important though, because we saw when he was out in the playoffs, they were just like a completely different team.
Yeah.
And they were not as good.
Yeah. So something to watch for, something to get excited about. I know as a Thunder observer, I got pretty excited watching the Timberwolves struggle against what I think is a mediocre Lakers team. Like if you watch last night, you think, man, the Lakers that must be a really good team. LeBron, Anthony Davis. And it's like, well, they're really not that good. The Wolves make them look really good at times last night.
I saw some people online that were more excited about their offensive variety, I guess, compared to last year.
Yeah.
But I still look at that rotation. I'm like, yeah, but one injury, and this is terrible. They're so thin. So yeah, as long as they're healthy, they're going to be solid. But how long is that going to last?
Yeah, I don't know. Like if Anthony Davis goes down, I mean, it gets interesting really fast for the Lakers. Definitely. So the Thunder don't play tonight. A lot of other teams play tonight. Thunder don't play until tomorrow night in Denver,
which I'm psyched about because I got tickets to the Blazers game tonight.
Oh, nice.
Without even I hadn't like really looked at the schedule yet. And
Yeah.
so when I found out that the Thunder don't play till Thursday, I was very excited. I was just assuming they were playing tonight. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to miss off to rewatch it. No, I don't have to. That's
New
so
look
great.
Warriors.
For me.
Are you excited to see Kyle Anderson in a Warriors jersey tonight?
No, I'm much more interested in the Blazers. I find them a lot more interesting. I mean, I think the Warriors are going to be good, but the Blazers just have so many more question marks.
Oh yeah, they're full of question marks. Like
they're big like preseason guys. Tumani Kamara. Everyone is gushing about Tumani out here.
Oh no,
they're very excited about Tumani.
Oh no.
So in fact, I'm very interested to. I don't think they've announced the starters. I don't know why they would have, but some people are wondering if Tumani is going to get the start over Scoot, and that they're still even with Shaden out.
No way.
I mean, if Simons is playing, like it does make sense because
over the number 3 overall pick,
dude, he's not ready. Like
he's not ready. It's year 2.
I know, but
you're on a bad team.
I know he's on a bad team.
What is he not ready for?
It's a terrible fit. Like him with Simons is a terrible fit. It's going to be a terrible fit. He can't shoot, and you're asking him to play off ball.
It's a terrible fit, you know.
But if he's in the second unit, then you're bringing him in with Klingon, and like at least you can start building some chemistry between them. I think that's more important than him like having this honorary starter status.
And that is really sad though. But like you need him competing against starters. Like if he is a franchise player,
I know, but
like this can't be the case. Then what you're telling me is that he's not a franchise player.
I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. He can still be good, but
we're already saying he can still be good. That just feels sad.
I mean, I don't know, man. He did not look good in preseason. He had a couple good games. One was against whatever European team they played, or it might have been an Australian team.
Not real.
Yeah, not real. So I don't know. When I watched him last year, like in person, I always did feel like the energy changed when he came in. Like he made them a lot more of an up and down team, which was good for them.
Yeah.
But he has to have something. He has to have something offensively to go to, and he's a terrible finisher. He's not a good shooter, and he's not like the nuclear athlete that Russ was.
Yeah.
And so he has to compensate a lot, and so he's gonna have to end up being a really good finisher at the rim, and he's so far away from that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I understand not starting him. Like I don't see the point really. Like he's going to still play a ton of minutes, but they can actually have like a functional starting lineup that makes sense with like Simons and Jeremy Grant, Denny Avdia, DeAndre Ayton, Tumani Kamara. Like that's kind of like a normal starting lineup in the NBA. And so maybe they won't get like demolished by the other team's starters every single game, which I do think would happen if you're just running Scoot out there.
Yeah, I think
or they can trade Simons and then start Scoot and put the ball in his hands, and then you figure it out. But I just don't see the point in starting Scoot and having him play off ball of Simons. And Simons is just a better player right now. He's way better with the ball in his hands.
Oh, this is sad. This rebuild is going to take a long time.
Yeah, especially because they're in the West, but I think they need like a number one guy more than anyone.
Yeah.
Because at least with the Jazz, you can say, okay, Lauri Markkanen, recent All-Star.
Yeah.
Like if they get number 3 in the draft, that's still like a huge win for them.
Mm-hmm.
Blazers, like it's not number 1 or bust, but like they have to get one of these top guys, whoever it is.
Yeah. It's
very important.
That's terrible.
Which maybe that's an argument to start Scoot.
That's exactly why I would start Scoot. That's exactly why I would have Scoot in there.
They're just going to be a really fun team to follow because Chauncey's a lame duck coach.
Yeah,
he's probably not going to be back next year, so it has a potential to be a weird season. But I really like the Avdia move. I hope they move off of Ayton because I was pretty impressed with Klingon in preseason, and I hope that. I mean, he may only get like 20 minutes to start, but
yeah,
I hope by the end of the season, his like conditioning is at the point where he can like be a starter and play 30 minutes a night because he looks pretty fun.
They've got a lot of roster issues that need to be taken care of just to give runway.
Yeah, but at least they have like real NBA players. Like you'd figure that some of these guys, like most of these guys are not negative assets that they have. And some of them are like wildly positive, like Avdia.
Yeah.
But like Simons isn't like a negative like he's a good player. Like you could trade him if you need to. You should be able to trade DeAndre Ayton if you need to. You should be able to trade Jeremy Grant. Like I don't feel like they're locked into anything like truly terrible.
Yeah, no, I don't think I just think that they're kind of at the point where the Thunder were before they made before they really tore everything down. And somehow they still only won 21 games last year. A lot of it injury related, but I still feel like you could continue to tear this thing down and like just get whatever you can for Ayton, get whatever you can for Rob Williams, get whatever you can for Jeremy Grant, and just like move on.
See, the problem with that is that even though it feels like they're at the beginning of their tank, this is going to be year 3 of them having a high lottery pick. Or no, year 4 of them having.
I know.
And Joe Cronin, like I'm assuming at some point they care about the results. So like I don't know how hot his seat is. And so that's another thing that makes their season really interesting. That was the Blazers section of our pod.
This is the Blazers section of Down to Dunk. So Peyton Watson has been practicing for the first time I think he started practicing a few days ago, and he was like one of the only guys that was going to be out for the Nuggets. And he seems like he's probably day to day at this point. So we'll see if he plays. Peyton Watson was actually really good against the Thunder early on last season. And I don't know what that looks like for them moving forward, but just to have like another wing off the bench that can defend, I think will be kind of crucial for the Nuggets on Thursday night. So it seems like he'll be back. Also, in the Basketball Reference description, it says that Adam Mares of DenverStiffs.com. It's just like, what is going on here? Like, why are they still using DenverStiffs.com for Adam
Really?
Mares? That's just very strange. I had to like I'd refresh Basketball Reference like 5 times, just like making sure that I wasn't somehow on like a Basketball Reference page from like 7 years ago or something.
Huh.
What are your like big concerns about playing the Nuggets night one, Al?
I mean, well, what is the current status? What are all the injury things with OKC? Have we gotten any additional updates?
I don't believe that we have any updates on the status of like J Will, which I think is like the
Okay.
one that I would care the most about.
Right.
Do you
Yeah,
agree?
I agree. Because that was what I was going to say. Like, yeah, my biggest concern is like Jokic going straight up against Chet. We there were moments in games last year against the Nuggets where, like any other team, it just looks like unstoppable.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of fans liked the double big lineup with J Will. And so if he's not available, which looks like on Basketball Reference, it just says doing some light jogging and outside shooting on Saturday. So it was 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, like if J Will's not in there and if J Dub is still out, then I got to be honest, I don't have super high hopes playing. It's in Denver, so
Yeah. There's no like official update on J
yeah.
Will, but I kind of assume he's gonna play in this one, which I think they kind of need him to. Just because or Kenrich, honestly, like just give me one of those guys. Just give me some veteran big man that can come in and help out a little bit. Not that Kenrich is huge.
Alex Reese.
The bartender.
Yeah,
It's a crazy story.
it's a very crazy story.
People lean on the bartender piece, but he also was a furniture mover as well.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, very cool.
So there's that, moving furniture, and now he's like doing very well for himself, making an NBA roster. That's pretty cool. I have zero expectation that we'll see him in a game, more than just like 2 minutes here or there.
Yeah, I mean the only thing, like if J Will's out and Kenrich is out, like the one thing Alex Reese does provide, even though we have not seen him, is that he is bigger. Like he's listed at 245.
He's bigger
on Basketball Reference, which is much different from Oos,
Bigger
who's
than
probably
Oos.
another big. God, if they don't have Kenrich, J Will, and J Dub,
I think they're gonna have J Dub. J Dub's gonna play.
Okay.
Yeah, J Dub even like on his YouTube channel, he making little YouTube deals saying that he's fine.
Oh,
And I don't know when exactly he recorded that, but he said on there that he's fine. So I think J Dub will be fine. I think it's just like that backup. It's funny because you go through the whole summer and you're like, you know what? Now the Thunder are big. Like, what is everybody gonna say now? And they go into the season like, actually, we just only have Chet.
yeah.
To start this season. So
Are you? Do you think there's any % chance that Caruso doesn't start? That Mark throws a curveball game one? Because we did see Kaysen start in the preseason.
We did.
Like, what would you put that % chance that someone other than Caruso is the fifth starter?
I would probably make like 30%.
Really that high?
I mean, I just don't have a good feel for it at all. And I think credit to the Thunder, like they're keeping this like under wraps in a very serious way, and I think it's kind of funny, because like everybody's had their take on what they're gonna do, throughout the summer, and I think that the Caruso was going to be the starter no matter what, and Mikele leans the other way. Mikele thinks that it's definitely going to be Hartenstein whenever he comes back. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be Caruso. I have a 70% feels about right for where I'm at. Like, would I be surprised if it was Kaysen Wallace or Isaiah Joe or somebody? Like, I wouldn't be just floored about that just because I haven't heard and I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I would be surprised if it's not Caruso.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah, I think it's basically just Caruso for Giddey, and like that's your starting lineup. Like that to me just has always like made the most sense, especially like I thought maybe they would go get a bigger wing in the offseason, and because they didn't do that, it would just surprise me if even when Hartenstein is healthy, if the double bigs was like their main lineup, that would still be surprising to me. I still think that they would kind of go with what has worked and then kind of mix and match from there. Makes just the most intuitive sense to me.
Really interested to see how they guard Christian Brown.
Yeah.
If just to see, like, do they trust him? Because there's a lot of benefits if you could sag off of him significantly. Since I mean, every other guy on the floor is terrifying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just want to see. I kind of want to see how every team guards him. Like how long it takes for people to actually believe in his shot. You know, he shot 38% on 2 threes per game last year.
Yeah.
As a starter, like you feel like that has to be like 4 a game.
Oh, yeah, more than that, especially
Yeah.
with the attention the other guys are taking. Like you need him to take, 5, be kind of like their Lou Dort,
Yeah.
ball hits his hands, like he just needs to fire away. And he just hasn't had a history of that. Like he likes to drive to the basket. He likes to kind of pump fake and go a little bit. And so, which I don't think is especially helpful to the Nuggets. So we'll see how that goes. Al, if let's say that you couldn't watch the game and you wake up Friday morning and you go to the box score, what is the first thing outside of the score of the game? What is the first thing that you're looking for in that box score about this game?
I mean, the boring answer is probably 3-point attempts.
Okay.
I just want to see who gets up, but
they shoot more than the Celtics did. Do you think they shoot 62?
No, I don't. That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
Probably be boring to watch, but that would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, first game of the season, I want to know who Mark is already confident in playing. You know, I think that really matters. If he's like, and I guess it's hard to say that though, because with the injuries, like, would it really be that shocking if he throws Dylan Jones out there in game 1? Like he is one of the beefier guys on the team, so maybe that wouldn't be that surprising and doesn't really tell you a lot. But like if AJ Mitchell plays tonight, that's pretty interesting because all their guards are basically healthy. So if Mark feels that confident and it's not just garbage time at the end, that would be pretty interesting to me. What about you?
Yeah, I would say I would the first thing I would do is definitely the boring answer is look at 3-point attempts. Like that's very much what I care about, and specifically J-Dub's 3-point attempts, because to me, like that is the thing that can take this Thunder offense and push it to a new level. Is if he is taking 7, 8, 9, in a game. If his game, I think ultimately his game could look a lot like what Jason Tatum's looks like, and if he can play similar to him, I just think they have similar games.
I'm just thinking of Tatum from last night. Like
he
how
was
many
absurd.
threes he took.
I mean, he took 11 last night.
11.
I don't expect J-Dub to take 11, but if he could take 7 and like take like 6 or 7 a game, which I don't feel like that's too much to ask. I don't feel like that's too much to ask. I think that to me would certainly change the kind of offense the Thunder have. Just having somebody that does that, because last year they had nobody that was a volume shooter. I mean, you look at the Celtics, and of course, this is like a kind of a weirdo team, but I mean, Tatum took 11, Drew Holiday took 6, Derek White took 10, Jaylen Brown took 9, Hauser took 7, Peyton Pritchard took 9. It's a lot, and like Holiday took 6, Al Horford took 5. And 5 was the most that anyone on the Thunder averaged last season. The Thunder thrive on driving and kicking. They thrive on getting to the hoop. They thrive on free throws and mid-range jumpers. They definitely give you a different diet of shots than a team like the Celtics do. But I think that they need to take a page from that book, because I do think that they have a roster that is probably the closest to replicating what they do, with guys that you trust the shot of a ton of these guys. I mean, Caruso, Shea, Dort, Joe, Wiggins, J-Dub, Kaysen, Chet. I mean, all of those guys. I'm like, yeah, all of those guys should take 5 or more. Like that would be the hope. Is that
I'm looking at
the reason they did last year?
Yeah, it's funny. It would be funny to go back and listen to what we were saying about last year's first game of the season, because that was against the Bulls, and in that game, Shea took 5 threes. J-Dub took 6 threes.
Yeah.
We were lulled into this false sense of hope about their 3-point attempt rate.
I know.
And but one thing that did stand out in that first game was Cason Wallace playing 19 minutes. Like coming, right out of the gate, he's a part of the lineup. Because we were all, of course, waiting for Micic. Micic is obviously going to be a part.
I know, and
then he just doesn't play. Yeah. So yeah, I'm interested to see whether it's AJ or Dylan Jones or both. If either of those guys just from the jump seem like they're a part of the rotation.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Who would you be most surprised to see? Like as a guy that
on the
more
like
than
any
of anyone, who would you be most surprised if they played more than 12 minutes?
Okay, so I'll leave Alex Reese out.
Okay.
That
would be jarring.
That would be jarring. I'm going to leave Topic out. That would also be jarring.
That would be amazing if we got Airbud out there playing.
Man, I don't know if there's a name though outside of those guys. Who would you be surprised by? Like if you looked at the box score the next day, A.G. Mitchell played 12 minutes, would it really be that shocking? Oos, no, that wouldn't be shocking. Even Dylan Jones, like we talked about with the injuries, wouldn't be shocking. I don't think there's anyone other than like the two-way guy.
I'm most surprised by AJ.
Probably, yeah, because of the guards are healthy, and if he plays 12 minutes, that would be very impressive.
Yeah,
or something went horribly wrong.
Let's not even go there. Let's just not even go there. Oh man. Let's take a quick break. After that, we'll continue to preview Thunder Nuggets. And we're back after that quick break. Al, for the season, what if let's say that we fast forward to the end of the regular season and we get to see the voting for all the awards. What do you think is the most likely award that we see in the hands of a Thunder player at season 7?
Okay, so this is the first year I've ever done this, Andrew.
Okay,
I actually made bets this year. I did.
Wow.
Would you like to hear what I bet my real hard-earned money on?
Yes.
Okay. And this will answer your question, because there was one Thunder-related bet. And it was, would you like to guess what it was?
Shea MVP?
No. Chet Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, Chet T-Boy. Wow.
Because, so I've been seeing a lot of people, like national people, they'll give their list of like MVP. And your family used to have an MPV, Andrew. A Mazda
That's
MPV.
true.
Multi-purpose vehicle.
We actually had 2.
You have 2 MPVs?
Most powerful vehicles is what it stands for.
That doesn't that's not right, is it?
No,
it's multi-purpose, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people nationally put Chet as Defensive Player of the Year, and like if you believe that, like you have to bet it, because the odds are stupid. It's plus 1,200.
That is wild. That is wild.
Like, folks, I bet $10. All right, big bucks, $10. If I win, I get $130 back.
Hey.
Like that's. If you think anyone other than Wemby could possibly win Defensive Player of the Year, you should bet on it, because the odds are stupid right now. The fact that Wemby his odds are so crazy, and all that has to happen is that he plays 64 games. That's all.
True.
That's all. That's it. And what if they want to tank at the end of the season?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's like out of the realm of possibility, because last year it was just they kind of tanked at the beginning of the season. It was Sohan, the point Sohan. Saying.
I say Sohan, but I don't know.
Yeah, so that was the main Thunder one, and that's the one I feel, especially after last night with the Wolves, that might take Gobert out of the equation. Yeah. I really think it could come down to Chet versus Wemby, and like I've said before, if OKC is the number 1 seed, even if he plays 65 games, and the Spurs are like the 12th seed, like I just feel like at some point in the season there will be a turn in like the national opinion about that award. So I felt like that was one I had to bet on.
I was also going to say, like, how much does like defensive rating matter in all of this?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, it mattered last year. The Wolves had the best defensive rating in the league. They gave it to Gobert. Do you remember what San Antonio was last year?
As a team?
Yeah.
Well, they were miserable, I'm assuming.
21st. So can you, let's say that they just improve to the 15th best defensive team, which would be an improvement. Can you really give a guy the defensive player of the year that was on like a mediocre defense? Can you really do that?
This is why I'm kind of hoping some of the guys they've added are good defensively, because the argument for Wemby is going to be the on-off numbers. Like, oh my gosh, look how much better. But that's because the rest of the Spurs were terrible defensively. But if like Stephon Castle can be good defensively, just to not be awful when Wemby's off the court.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, it feels like their entire defensive structure is built around Wemby always being back there.
Yeah.
So Chet would be my answer for that.
Yeah.
What else did I bet, Andrew? I bet most improved player of the year. On
J-Dub?
Nope. Jalen Johnson. The odds were a little bit better, plus 1,200. I preferred that to J-Dub's. Although I mean, J-Dub is ranked. I mean, he has better odds, or worse odds, I guess.
Yeah.
I did 2 rookie of the year bets.
Yeah.
Reed Shepherd plus 700 and Zachary Risachet plus 900.
I actually like the Risachet one now.
I know. I just kind of liked the odds at plus 900 because I think he's like 4th on the list. Zach Edey's number 1.
Yeah, of course.
I just kind of liked it.
I kind of like
why not?
Yeah.
As I mentioned with on our bold predictions, I did go ahead and do an MVP bet for Jalen Brunson just because he's down at plus 1,800.
Yeah.
Obviously, doesn't look great after last night.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple J-Dubs. J-Dub to average 23 plus points per game and 4 plus assists per game.
Oh, I like that.
Plus 350.
I like that. I like
that one.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I also put a most improved player bet on Cade because he's plus 1,800.
What's he going to have to do?
I think, basically, if the Pistons are the 10th seed, which sounds crazy initially, but it's like it's going to be them, Charlotte, or Toronto. It's going to be one of those 3 teams. It's not going to be the Wizards. It's not going to be the Nets. So it'll be one of those 3 teams. If that happens, and it's not like I feel like so much more confident about Toronto and Charlotte, then I feel like Cade will finally get that will be the recognition that he gets.
Yeah, he's got to make a statistical jump though. Like he almost averaged 23 a game last year.
Yeah.
He's got to be like at 27, 26 per game. And like, got to shoot it better.
Okay. My worst bet, because I didn't realize he was already injured. I just made it before, was 6th man of the year, a deep cut, because I feel like 6th man of the year, it could be anyone,
Yeah.
I went with Bogdan Bogdanović from the Hawks. Another Hawks.
That's not that
dude. He's plus 3,500.
Seriously?
Plus 3,500. He is so far down the list.
Listen, if the Hawks do what I think they can do, I think that you're going to have some coin in your pocket, brother.
And then the last bet I made, another J-Dub bet to be a Western Conference All-Star plus 400.
I like that. I think that
I
think that's happening. I think you're winning something right there.
So those are all of my NBA bets. I spent a total of $50.
Wow.
And I'll let you know if I make any money at the end of the year.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Man.
Very exciting.
That's very exciting. Wow.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't even know where to go from here.
I think you guys on the Fry Pod should all pool money and make live bets on the Fry Pod about the season.
Hop in bet MGM.
Yeah.
It's not legal in Oklahoma, is it yet?
Oh, is it not? Well, we have DraftKings out here. That's the only one that's legal out here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a little bit of a snag for us, I think, to do those.
You'd have to do it illegally, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, do you really not have you guys don't have any app betting?
I mean, I don't honestly. I just don't know. I've not placed a sports bet once in my life. Like I have no knowledge of any of this stuff. Maybe somebody in the chat will alert us as to how that works.
Why don't you go down to Remington Park, Andrew, with the boys? Do a live pod on Friday.
That would actually be kind of fun.
Dude, I don't know why my dad took my mom for her birthday to Remington Park. I have this memory of being like 8 years old and going to Remington Park for my mom's birthday for some reason. It was a blast. I loved it. I was 8, but it was very fun.
That's awesome. Okay. Before we end the show, I thought it would be fun to rank the Thunder players in terms of how good they are defensively. Like to do a official down to dunk defensive ranking.
Okay, I can. Okay, I would say Chet number 1.
You would say Chet number 1.
I would. I mean the only other option I think would be Caruso.
Yeah, I kind of think Caruso might be number 1.
See, I'm always going to favor the big over the guard.
I'm not saying necessarily. I think if you were saying importance to the team, I think it's Chet.
But we saw last year with the Bulls, like it doesn't matter. Like Caruso can play, and you cannot have a good defense.
It's
like
true.
if Chet's on the court, you're going to be a good defense.
Okay,
like just straight up. So that's why I think Chet would be number 1.
I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
And then Caruso number 2.
I would say AC number 2.
After that, I think
like
the obvious
candidates: Hartenstein, Dort, Kaysen. Like I think those are like the next guys here. And if you are favoring bigs, like
I would go Hartenstein.
It's not crazy to think about Hartenstein, which I've heard so much Steen lately that I could just throw up.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
at least I mean, that is the only silver lining of him being out, is that hopefully people aren't going to be saying his name a bunch over these next 6 weeks. We take a little bit of a break, and then the Steens will come back in December.
Hashtag stop the Steen.
Stop the Steen. Yeah, I'd put him 3rd for the same reason. And then between Kaysen and Dort, I mean, I'd probably go Dort.
Gotta go Dort. I think Dort's a little underrated. If Dort is your 4th best defender,
yeah,
like that's crazy. And I don't think that it's wrong. Like I don't think it's incorrect. But if Dort is your 4th best defender, then you are going to be insane. Like it's going to be just impossible against this team.
And I'd give him the advantage over Kaysen just because of the size. I mean, he's just so much bigger.
Yeah. In fact, I might go J-Dub here.
J-Dub over Kaysen?
Just because of the versatility and the size.
Yeah. I'd be most interested where you'd put Shea, because I don't really have a good sense of where I'd put him.
I would probably go Kaysen 6, Shea 7, probably. Because I do think that Shea is like a high level, like expert level player off ball and like just like finding the gaps and finding the steals and just like generating chaos, which is like how he got, all defense votes last year. Is just like the stats, like the deflections and the steals and all of that. I think that will ratchet up even a little bit more just because his responsibilities, when you replace Caruso, in for Giddey, like his responsibilities lessen as like an on-ball defender even more if that's the lineup that you're playing, and then like you can just focus on doing what I think that he is. It's like him and Paul George are like probably like 2 of the best in the NBA at just like generating chaos in the margins.
Okay, I'm cool with that. And then even at this point,
but that's like your 7th best defender too, which is like wild which is also just kind of wild. Like,
yeah, we're at 7 and we haven't talked. Well, actually, we're at 8 because Dub, Kaysen, Shea,
right.
And we haven't mentioned Wiggins, who I think
Wiggs is good.
Like if Isaiah Joe is the guy who we're going to end up saying is the worst defender,
like
that's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't really have a strong opinion on like Oos because he just doesn't play that much. Same with like Kenrich. It's hard to have a strong opinion just because we haven't seen him play like
and we like
big minutes in a while. But he's good.
Yeah, like he's good enough to like anchor a small ball defense. So I may go Kenrich 8, Wiggs 9, and then like now it's Isaiah, probably
J. Will,
Joe, J. Will, and then it's probably like Oos and the rookies, and like
I don't think
Dylan Jones like could be good, but like I just don't know yet.
I'd probably put Dylan Jones last right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's like super jumpy on defense right now. There were some times in preseason where I would just like blur my vision, and like the other 4 guys on the floor, the other 4 Thunder players would just be like locked into their position, and there'd just be this one guy who's just like bouncing around on defense, and it would always be Dylan Jones.
Yeah.
So I think he has a lot to learn on that end, which makes sense, given like what his role was in college.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'd probably be at the bottom for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oos isn't bad. Oos, if he has moments, it's defensively.
Yeah, he's not, and he's big, and he's got long arms. Like there
were moments in the preseason where I was like, hey, that was a really physical defensive play by Oos.
Where he had some blocks. He had some blocks in the preseason.
Yeah.
That were pretty nice.
So,
I just don't think he's gonna play. I put J. Will above him just because I think
we'll see, Andrew. We'll see.
You wouldn't put J. Will above him.
No, I'm just saying my bold prediction. It starts tonight.
Yeah.
Oos is going to start racking up those minutes if J. Will can't get on the floor. Will he be able to make it up, Andrew?
Tomorrow night.
You know what? Thinking back, because I honestly just chose Oos at random, just like a player that I don't think is going to get a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
It was more about like, I think it's going to be hard for J. Will to get minutes. I should have picked AJ Mitchell. That would have been such a good, bold prediction to say that before preseason.
Yeah. Before preseason?
Yeah, before preseason. That would have, but I'm not that smart. I didn't have that foresight.
That would have been wild. Although great speller. I did know that prior.
Very good speller. Okay. Games tonight.
Yep.
Thunder adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix at Clippers.
Yeah.
It's a big one on ESPN, 7 p.m. At the new Intuit Dome. We'll get to see the fan wall.
God,
will that give them a boost? Will that be enough?
So bad. I want to go there so badly.
Are there any other games that are interesting as Thunder fans? I would say, hey, Charlotte, Houston. Charlotte, because of Trey Mann, Micic is going to play.
Yeah, long short.
Yeah, and then Houston is just like endlessly fascinating.
Yeah.
Very interested to see Chicago, New Orleans. Chicago to see Giddey, New Orleans to see just like what do they look like without a center?
What is happening? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago is one of the teams where like maybe it could work.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they'll look like really scary and be getting up and down and causing a bunch of steals against the Bulls. But I'm still interested in that. And then Memphis, Utah, I want to see Zach Edey.
I know. I was going to mention that. Like
Edey Kessler.
And just in general, like what do they look like?
Man, there's so many good games. Like
there's good games, but this is like a sicko's night of NBA basketball. Like
maybe I will say the games I'm not interested in. Cleveland, Toronto, that just doesn't do a lot for me. I'm probably gonna skip that one.
Yeah.
Orlando, Miami is one of those games where it's like I acknowledge both teams are good, but that sounds like such a disgusting game.
I hate watching the Heat in general, and I don't like watching the Magic that much either. Like neither one of them are a fun watch.
Brooklyn, Atlanta. I'm interested in Atlanta this season, but I don't know if I'll be tuning in for Brooklyn, Atlanta. The early game I'll be watching is, of course, Pacers, Pistons. I gotta watch my Pistons,
totally.
See what they look like.
Yeah, I cannot quit the Pistons. I just can't.
Yeah, and then Bucks, Sixers, which Embiid's not playing, Paul George isn't playing, Chris Middleton's not playing, and that's our first ESPN game of the season.
That's sad.
But there's some good games at night.
Yeah, there's some good games later. Hey, tune into the NBA Daily tomorrow.
I've been listening.
What do you think?
It's good. I think it's real quick. It's snappy.
Yeah.
Jumps back and forth between things. I like having a guest in the middle.
Yeah.
Like a beat writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it works.
It's been really fun. I've been working tirelessly on that for a while. And so I've been actually really excited about how it's come together. So please go listen to that. You can also watch it on YouTube.
No, when I listen to it and they do like a 5-minute segment at the beginning, I'm like, oh man, I wish I could just do that for Slam and Jam. I wish I could just do a 5-minute segment.
Oh, you mean you wish you could just do short segments?
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Well, it's just the way Slam and Jam's been set up. We can go to an hour and 30 minutes.
I know.
And it's just like the natural flow of how the episode goes.
Yeah, we go for a long time. Before we go, Al.
Yes.
Official win prediction for the Thunder.
For the Thunder
this season. What you got?
So they're over under as of today. I don't know why I said that. I don't have it up.
Isn't it is it 56 or 57 and a half?
Yeah, I think it's one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. They won 57 last year. Oh, man. I'm going to go 56, Andrew.
You were going 56.
I'm going 56.
Wow.
Slight under. Yeah.
Wow.
I am. Obviously, you can make the case that, like, even without Hartenstein, this is the same team as we had last year, just with Caruso. And that is true. But I feel like we do that with every single team in the league where it's like, they won 57 last year. Why can't they win the exact same amount this year?
I know.
And the West is so much better. There's so fewer wins to go around if Memphis is just a normal good team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll be better,
mm-hmm.
Overall. But I'm going 56 for my win prediction.
Okay. I'm going over. I'm going
over?
I'm going 61.
61. Okay.
I think they're going to win 61 games, which would be a Thunder franchise record. 61 wins.
Is 60 the previous?
60 is the previous. I think they'll beat it by 1 game.
Wow. Okay.
Which would be crazy. Thinking about all the players that have played for this team and to think that they've never gotten more than 60 is kind of wild.
Yeah, they certainly have a shot. I do think though, like we need another really bad team in the West to reach some of these heights.
Yeah, there's always someone. There's always someone.
Yeah, I mean, someone will have a big injury in the first couple weeks, and it will sidetrack their season.
Clippers.
It might. I mean, it's kind of already happened with the Clippers, but we'll see what they look like tonight.
Yeah.
James Harden 3.0. I guess this is like 4.0. James
I was going to say this is probably 4.0. Wow.
And not necessarily improvement. Usually when things are 0.0, they get better. But
yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. We'll see.
No, it's not. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show. Let us know what you think about the intro. Comment on this YouTube page. Be sure that if you're watching right now, we got a lot of people watching on this Wednesday afternoon. Please like the video right now, please. Hope everybody's doing great. We will have a recap of the game on Friday morning for the Fry Pod. We'll actually have real Thunder basketball to talk about. So looking forward to that. And we'll talk to you guys again on Friday.